Okay, so in this video, we're gonna go over the second method you can use when we are dealing with standard form. So just as a little side note, remember that standard form looks like AX, oh, let me put a different color. AX plus BY equals C. That's what standard form looks like. And we see that form being displayed in this example number 1, where we have AX plus by, in this case my b is a negative, equals c. So we know that we are dealing with standard form. All right, so here's the second way in which you can graph linear equations that are in standard form. We are gonna get our x and y intercepts. Okay, so I'm gonna erase this here. Our goal is to get my x intercept and also my y intercept. Let's use this color. Y intercept. Okay, so let's start with my x intercept first. All right, so to get my x intercept, I'm just gonna rewrite the equation right under there. So 8x minus 4y equals 24. So to get my x-intercept, I am going to plug a 0 for y. So I'm going to replace this y with a 0. So it's going to look something like this. 8x minus 4 parentheses 0 equals 24. And now my goal is to solve for x, this x right here. So let's see what we got here. So let's bring down 8x. Now 4 times 0 is just 0, right? So we can say minus 0 equals 24. And now we get 8x equals 24 because that minus 0 doesn't really mean much. And again, our goal is to get this x all by itself. So I'm going to divide by 8 on both sides. And we get x is equal to 3. Therefore, my x-intercept, so my x-intercept is going to be 3, 0. That's the form that we always want to express our x-intercept. So we know this is our x value and our y value. Remember that we plugged in 0 for y. That's why we have 0 here. And we found that x is 3. So that's why this is our x-intercept. All right. So we're going to do something similar for our y-intercept. So let me rewrite the equation here. 8x minus 4y equals 24. And now this time I am going to plug in a 0 for x. So it's always like the opposite letter. So remember, for the x-intercept we plug the 0 for y. For the y-intercept we plug in a 0 for x. So it's going to look something like this. 8, it's a weird 8. 8 parentheses 0 minus 4y equals 24. So 8 times 0 is 0 minus 4y equals 24. So we can pretty much just say negative 4y equals 24. And now our goal is to get the y all by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. And we get x. This would cancel out. This cancels out. X is equal to negative 6. I mean y. Sorry. Y. We were solving for y here. Y is equal to negative 6. So that means that my y-intercept is 0, negative 6. My first value is always an x. My second value is a y. And keep in mind that we plugged in 0 for x. That's why we have an x 0 here. And we found that y is negative 6. All right? And now we just have to plug these two numbers, or these 2 points. So let's plug our x-intercept down here. So 3, 0. So I'm gonna go to 3 in my x-axis and stay at 0. So that would be right here. And then I'm gonna plug in my y-intercept, which was 0, negative 6. So on my y-axis, I'm gonna go to 0. And my x-axis, I'm gonna go to 0, sorry, and then I'm gonna go down to negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then I'm just gonna connect the two. That wasn't good. I would say that's a little bit better. Yeah. All right. So that is my graph. Now, just before I go into the second example, remember, let me just bring you back here. You see what we plugged in this 4, 0? You see how this just kind of just canceled, like it went away? You can always just think of it like that. Like this just goes away. And we end up with 8x equals 24. Same thing over here. This kind of just went away. So you don't even have to go into this step here, because that kind of just went away. All right, so in this time, you can pause the video, take some notes down. Remember, we're finding our x-intercept and our y-intercept. And then I'm gonna go into example number 2. Oh wait, never mind. It was just one example. So this is pretty much what you are going to do. You plug in a 0 for y when you're finding your x-intercept, solving for x. And then you plug in a 0 for x, solving for y when you're finding your y-intercept. You put them in your graph. Okay, so this time, again, take some notes down, and then you can head over to Google Classroom to complete